The Help Myself Podcast, brought to you by Q Images, run by Timothy Quisenberry. It's a world-class, veteran-owned and operated Las Vegas-based photography company. Whether you need on-site, in-studio, or on-location photography, be prepared to receive top-notch, innovative, and high-level professionalism from Q Images. While other photographers take photos, Q Images captures memories and creates experiences. Go to qimages.smugmug.com or Instagram at QUE_images. Also, the book Powered by Purpose, written by none other than your host, John M. Singletary Sr. Get your copy today at thehelpmyselfpodcast.com. Welcome to the Help Myself Podcast. I'm your host, John M. Singletary Sr. You know, that's the only time I introduce myself like that. Normally it's just John Singletary. But you know why I got to put that senior in there. It's because I got a junior, a.k.a. LJ. I am excited about, we're going to take a little break in June, one more episode, and then we're going to take a break through June and potentially come back in July. I'm going to spend this time kind of deciding how long the break needs to be. Need to change up some things. I definitely want to re-record that intro. Sometimes I laugh at the way I sound. Operated by Timothy Quisenberry. And then at the end when I try to rush, oh yeah, and the book. And speaking of the book, Powered by Purpose, there's one behind me. You know what to do. Go to the website. And that is www.thehelpmyselfpodcast.com. Again, that's www.thehelpmyselfpodcast.com. You can learn all about the podcast, learn about all the things that we're doing here at the Help Myself Network. And down at the bottom, you can order a copy of Powered by Purpose, an amazing book that was formed and fashioned out of the 100 weeks that I personally addressed my team during the pandemic when we first started, when we were lost, when we were trying to figure things out, to help guide and navigate. And then we were able to pull the gems and the nuggets out of those addresses and synthesize them into favorite quotes, and then expound on those quotes, give you purpose points so that you can figure out how this speaks to you and how you're going to engage moving forward. And I'm telling you, it's like a coaching session with me, but a lot cheaper. So get in at the www.thehelpmyselfpodcast.com. Get a copy of the book. If you go through the website, you will get it personally autographed by none other than yours truly. So go out and support. And I appreciate all of you that continue to support, continue to tell people about it, giving testimonies about how the book has impacted your life. I appreciate you. And we're going to make this a movement. But this weekend, a big event is happening. My co-pilot is graduating. Look, I'm so excited. You know, it's an interesting thing, but how about we play this video and then we'll come back. Well, no video. Didn't put the video in. That's my bad. But this week, we'll be celebrating the graduate. I'm going to put some stuff out on my socials about it. He'll be graduating, walking the stage with his class. And what's so cool about it is they'll let his class graduate first, and then we can bounce out after that. So we don't have to be there because his school is huge. I think his graduating class is somewhere between 5 and 6 times larger than mine was. And I went to a nice size school, but it was maybe almost 200 of us. They've got over 1,000. So just amazing. It's been an amazing journey, and the journey continues. So he's going to get a couple of weeks out. We're going to celebrate on the 17th of June. We'll be in Charleston to celebrate with his family. And then, you know, any of my friends and my peeps out that way that want to come by, we'll make sure that we make all those visits. Then we'll be in Atlanta, Georgia, June 24th to celebrate him with more of his family. and friends, and I'll reach out to people I know while we're there. And then we're going to definitely make some trips to Texas. After that, he'll start extended school year. So we'll let him get settled into there, and we'll make weekend trips. But then we're going to take some extended time down in Texas, and we'll hit all the major corners. San Antonio, of course, my mama's in Beaumont. We'll definitely be home basing out of there. Houston, Dallas. So, we'll spend some time and try to see as many folks as possible and celebrate him. Then in August, we're going to do fun stuff and get prepared for the school year to start back up in late August, and we'll run it back. But we are so excited. We're going to celebrate him. I want him to know how great he is and how big of a moment this is, how proud I am of him. And we want everybody to be able to show their love for the graduate. Then at the end of August, we'll celebrate his 18th birthday. So it's party time. And somewhere in between there, Daddy going to take some time to celebrate Daddy, because I had a lot to do with this. No, but seriously, I really think, parents ought to take time to celebrate themselves too, because the journey of parenthood and getting your children to these significant milestones, it is not easy. It is not for the weak. And a lot of times we don't take time to acknowledge everything that we've gone through. But y'all see at the bottom, it's going to be a boy and his beads. So we celebrating him. If you want to reach out to me, I will put the email address up later, but it's just info@thehelpmyselfpodcast.com. And if you want to send some beads or, send a donation to the graduate, it's greatly appreciated. But we're already appreciative of how much you've been an important part of this journey for us. So, I'm excited. I am excited. You know what I'm saying? My mama's coming into town. It's always good to see mama. We're going to celebrate. We're going to have a good time, see some people, get great photo ops. And, I'll share those amazing pictures that I ordered. People was trying to front and stuff. No, nobody was trying to front. I'm playing. Nobody was trying to front. But real quickly, as I say all the time, I'm here for a good time, not for a long time. I'm a sprinter. We don't run marathons around these parts. But I wanted to stop and share something real quickly. And again, about that break, we'll be taking that break through the summer. And I think we'll pick back up in July. Again, I'm going to spend some time this week kind of organizing and stratting for that. So if we don't pick up in July, it'll be back in August. But I think we'll pick up kind of late July. But we're going to do some upgrades. I never realized how much of an impact lighting has on a camera. But, we're going to do some upgrades. We're going to change some things around. We're going to come back, have some great content. I want to encourage you to go to the YouTube page, which is the Help Myself Podcast Network, and go to our YouTube page, subscribe, hit the like button, click on the notification bell so you get notified when we drop content and you can see what's going on. If you go to the website, get on the mailing list. We're going to really expand that thing and start putting out great information. It's going to be great benefits for my email subscribers. And, just as we start leveling up everything, and we've got some guests that are planning on, coming on the show, we're going to keep on moving upward and onward. We're going to do some interesting pivots and different topics. We've got several podcasts on the network. One is still in the planning execution stage, but if you like music, you definitely need to check out the They Jammin' podcast, myself and Rock. We host that. It's exclusively on Spotify under the Help Myself Podcast Network. But if you go to Spotify and download the They Jammin' podcast, listen, it is a good time. We have a good time. We play good music. Our latest episode, we have Josh Green on there. And the latest episode is Home Team. It's an awesome episode, so check it out. And, man, we're going to keep on moving up with it. So we're excited. What can I say that hasn't already been said? So at this point in time, let's get to what this episode is all about. And I just want to leave you with this. Get active. Well, I'm not leaving you yet, but I want to sit this with you so that you can take some time with it. And when I say get active, I mean it on so many levels, not just physically, but we will talk about that. But a lot of times we are not active in the way that we set our intentions, the way we set goals, the way our self-talk is designed, the way we visualize our lives. We're not active in any of this. And I tell you what, if we were to take an active versus a passive stance on a lot of the things that we do, it would really change the results that we get. A lot of times the results that we're getting, we blame it on other situations, on systems, on other people. But a lot of times we're not getting the results that we need to get because there are holes in our game that could be shored up. Now, once you've done all that you can do, all you can do is stand on that, try to increase your capability to do more. But I always encourage you to do everything that you can do. But if there's a result that you're not getting and there's something that you're leaving on the table, even if you could be greatly helped by situations, activities, and powers outside of your control, make sure you're doing everything you can to position yourself for success. And a great way to do that is to get active. So the first way that we want to be active is to be intentionally active. Now, let's talk about intentional. So this goes into a lot of the conversation we have. This goes into the way we set goals, the things that we visualize. And that's going to kind of touch into the second point. The 3 points, and I'll give them to you just in case you got to leave, but getting active intentionally, mentally, and physically. Those are the 3 things that we're going to talk about. But when you talk about intentionally getting active, what are your intentions? Years ago, I used to teach a communication skills training course. And we would always talk about active and passive language. And one of the most passive pieces of language that we use is we talk in passive terms, but we say, I hope. Like, you ever had somebody tell you, I hope you had a good weekend? And me being sarcasm being my maiden language, my native language, my question is, well, what do we do if I didn't have one? Like, what if you're hoping that I had a good weekend doesn't fix the not so good weekend that I had? I would never do that because I normally do have good weekends. I always can find good in the weekend. But it's just like, it's such a, I don't want to say throwaway, but there's almost not a better term for it. It's a throwaway term. I hope you had. Like, I don't want to address you. I don't want to sit down and ask you how it was. I just want to throw something out positive so it makes me look positive. There's nothing to what I just said. It's all fluff. And let me show you why. If we are sitting somewhere and I tell you to wave your hand, it's going to look something like, putting your hand in the air. Some people might go directly up. Some people might do it, but it's still going to be something that resembles no matter who the person is, where they come from. Raising your hand is something that we can identify. If I tell you to stand up, standing up is going to look like something. Or if I say, show me what it looks like to stand up better, rather. That's the term I want to use. Show me what it looks like to stand up. People will stand up, and basically it'll look like the same thing. If you're somebody like me, and you get up slower than you used to, but some people pop right up, but eventually everyone will get to a standing up position. If I say, grab the pen that is on your desk, that's going to look like something. Now, if I tell the people in that same room to hope for a good outcome, what does that look like? It's going to look different to everybody. Somebody might grit and get quiet or whatever, but you can't quantify what hoping looks like because it is actually a passive term. Hoping is basically putting it in the hands of someone else. Well, I hope. And a lot of times we use hope not because we're trying to be passive, but because it sounds positive and it signals good intentions, but it signals passive intention. And a lot of times, here's the worst part, we are moving around in our lives with a hope mentality. I hope things work out. I hope I have a good day. I hope things get done. But, the beds in my house have never gotten made off of hope. They get made when me and LJ get up and make the beds. You know what I mean? I've never gotten a job offer based on hope. I always get offered a job based on interviewing well, building a good resume, showing myself as valuable as a commodity to the company or organization in which I'm interviewing for. The things that really happen that are impactful in your life are not evidence or not results of hope. They're results of getting active and doing what you have to do. So when I say intentionally, watch how you talk, watch how you think, watch how you visualize. When we're working out, one of the things we do, say I'm going to do a weight that I've done before, but it's heavy. One of the best things to do is to visualize myself successfully pressing that weight. So now it is in my mind and I can actually press the weight. It's important to be able to be intentional about the thing. So when you visualize yourself, one of the things I teach in interview skills is not only visualize yourself interviewing well, but remember a time when you've done something, anything well, and pull that confidence that comes from thinking about. And one of the easiest examples, I don't know, I guess because I'm hungry all the time, but if you cook well and you think about a dish that you've cooked very well, and you go back to the confidence you have, like when you know that you not only know how to do something, but you do it well, and people are always like, oh, you did that. And you just know that, like, hey, when I do this, it's going to be what it's going to be. Like everybody's, that confidence that comes with that. Like I'm feeling it right now, just saying those things. And you take that confidence in there and you don't hope that the interview goes well. You go in there and you kick that interview's tail. You know what I'm saying? You're intentional. We've got to be active in our intentionality. We've got to be active intentionally in how we visualize and see ourselves. Be active in being honest about what we want. A lot of times we want to be bashful about the fact that we want to be number one, or that we want to have a nice house, or that we want to drive nice cars, or that we want to have a great job and be in positions of power so we can affect change, and that we want all these things. But be intentional. Don't just say, if I work hard, all of a sudden good things will happen, because working hard is a good way to get there, but hard work with no emphasis or intention, it probably won't get you where you're trying to go. I will never talk against hard work, but direction and intention will trump hard work every time. Listen, if you work hard to go north and south, and where we're trying to get to is to the west, I could be lazy, but if I'm heading in the right direction, you'll never get there going north and south, but I will, because I'm intentional and I'm going in the right direction. So be intentional, but not only be intentional, not only get active intentionally, but get active mentally. The thoughts that we think, a lot of times we render ourselves powerless by the thoughts that we think. Have you ever seen the kind of folks where you be thinking they don't have the skill set to do all the things that they do, but they believe it, and then you see it happening? I've talked about the irrational confidence folks lots of times, and it's something that I believe in. Like a lot of times, just mentally, take some time to clear your mind. There's been a couple of times I've had to present, and I still get nervous, and I talked about that last week. But I just take some deep breaths. My brother Curtis Thompson, man, one time I was really stressing about something. He said, hey, man, just take 10 deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Deep breaths. And it really reset me, and it helped me get into a mental place. And so I would definitely say, taking time to get active mentally, to start thinking and planning, strategizing, to use prayer and meditation and all of these things to get yourself in a mental place. Because a lot of times we just wake up and we let the day take us wherever the day is going to take us. And if you would just stop for a little bit to clear your mind and tap into the mental and emotional power you have to impose your will on the day. Because people that handle things well, that seem to be in a good mood, it's not just because they're lucky or they hope that they would. It's because they do work, and so they don't get crushed by things that they got to work in the same traffic you got in. They're dealing with the same things at home. They've got family members that are great. They got people in the family that don't wish them well. They got friends that's on their side. They got people that all of the things that are impacting you are impacting them. And one of the mistakes we make is this idea of exceptionalism, and that we think the people that are successful are just so exceptional. And the reason why that's problematic is because this idea of exceptionalism gives us an excuse to be ordinary when all it takes is some intentionality and some mental focus, and we can be more than ordinary. We can be extraordinary, which is just ordinary with some extra on it. Extraordinary. So being mentally prepared, what are the thoughts? And I alluded to it, like visualizing yourself with success, visualizing the things that you want. One of the things that I tell people to practice is sometimes when you daydream about a good thing happening, like I remember my first board for chief. And, I was in my mind like, they don't even like me. I'm not going to get the job. And I would start daydreaming and feeling like, what if I made chief? It'd be so excited, and I moved and I'd have this impact and I could do this, and that. And then I'd say, no, don't daydream because it's not going to happen. Get prepared. I'm not saying that those weak mental thoughts, there were actually forces that were working against me, right? But I think sometimes when you give yourself permission to mentally navigate that direction, that life, that purpose, that goal that you have, and to mentally get reps in achieving it, it starts to play itself out in the physical. So when you are visualizing yourself getting into shape, it plays out because now you got a picture and you're chasing towards that. That's why it's important. Vision boards and things like that. We family. Y'all know me. Y'all know what I stand for. But listen, I follow accounts, fitness accounts, man, and to see people in good shape inspires me to continue on my health journey to get in the best shape that I can. Watching people that are successful inspires me. A lot of real estate accounts that I follow, they be on here showing these houses, and I'm like, I've got to stop believing that I can't do that and start believing that I can, and having that visual. So mentally, if we live better lives mentally, it would really translate into better lives in our realities. But a lot of times we're just in this lost space mentally, and it ends up showing up in the things that we do in our actual life. So we've got to get active mentally. But here's the easiest one. This is the one that you automatically thought of, that we get active physically. But not only just getting active physically, but being physically intentional. Like one of the things that I like to do, and obviously, me and a couple of my friends, we got the Apple Watch and the fitness, and so we closing rings every day, right? But it tracks your steps, your heart rate, and all of this. And I'm really competitive, so this is perfect for me because I got 3 other people every day that I'm competing with who closed their rings, who got the most steps, who got the most calories burned, who moved the most, all this. So I'm competitive. That helps me. That inspires me. But one of the things that really clears my head and allows me to come up with ideas and strategies and plans, and I take a walk, a brisk walk, get the heart rate going. One, it loosens up my back. I get up and my back is tight, and things are hurting. I'm in my late 40s. I'm a disabled vet. You know what I mean? So there's pain there. There's chronic pains, but taking a good walk not only loosens up my body, but it loosens up my mind, and I can feel the activity flowing. And so when I say get active physically, I'm not saying you got to go join a gym, but a lot of times we just go through our day doing whatever. If the day calls for physicality, then we'll exert, but we don't plan it. But I mean, if it's nothing but taking a walk, you get up and do a few push-ups, some jumping jacks. If you're not able to do all that, whatever your level of physical activity is, get up and be intentional about getting moving. But not only that, getting physical and getting active. One of the things that we see is we walk into spaces and we don't take up the space. Some of us, some people may. Some people come in and take up all the space, and bravo to that, because that's physically, man. Mentally, we need to make the space. With our intentions, we need to create a plan to get into the spaces, but physically, we've got to be intentional about taking up the space. when you go somewhere, talking to my friends that are photographers, and they say one of the things when you're taking pictures, you want your shoulders to be out, you want to sit, you don't want to close, or when you talk about body language, if you're talking to somebody and they're away from you and they got their body closed, that's nonverbals right there. They're closing their body out. But if their body is open, they're open to you, your presence, and what you're saying. If their toes are pointing towards you, that's a sign of interest. And so all of these things take up space physically as you are creating your space mentally, as you're designing the spaces that you're going to take up with your intentions. So get active, get moving, plan it right, think it up right, and then show up in the right way. Get active intentionally, get active mentally, and then get active physically. And when you get active and you're doing things that will make your life better, this will rub off on family, on friends. This will rub off in so many areas. But I want you to get active because most importantly, you're worth it. You're worth it. You have something of value to share. And that thing that you have to share will never be experienced if you're so busy hiding, if you're so busy being unactive or inactive, if you're playing the background, if you're not believing, if you're not mentally dreaming and visualizing and planning and scoping that thing out, and if you're not stepping up to the plate. So make sure that you get active, because I promise you, every step forward will be a step of power into your purpose. Y'all see what I did there? Power by... Hey, listen, I have enjoyed hopping on the mic real quick. Thank you so much for your support. Again, go to the YouTube page. That's the Help Myself Podcast Network, or it might come up as the Help Myself Network. Go subscribe. Make sure you go check out the website. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Check out the website. And follow me on my socials. If you're watching this, a lot of you are already following me on my socials. I appreciate your continued support. And obviously, we are going onwards and upwards. So we'll be back next week, and then we'll talk about where the break will go. Again, my co-pilot, listen, thank you for your support. We're going to celebrate him. If you want to be a piece of that, here's the information. I'll definitely put all of my other information up like I promised. Here it is. There we go. That's the website. That's the IG, the YouTube, the Facebook, and the email address is info@the Help Myself Podcast. So that's info, INFO, at the Help Myself Podcast. But if you go to the website, you can contact me from there. DM me on Instagram. Excuse me. That's hit or miss. But definitely emailing is the best way. For me, I'm old school. I respond to emails. That's my jam. So, but again, thank you so much for joining me here on the Help Myself Podcast. I'm going to close like I always do. Listen, I can't help myself. I've got to inspire. I've got to encourage. I've got to empower. But I can't help myself by being the absolute best version of myself. And guess what? You can too. So why not we do it together? Until next time.